what? A couple of days into it, I don't even have to get into character. I've been frustrated the last 2 years with nothing happening with these hate crimes against our community. So the very interesting and weird thing that happened with that episode and filming was, after one particularly long day of filming in an interrogation scene, I'm riding home after on the subway. I'm sitting there and I see this guy throw a bag at this lady, bag of junk food, and he said, "You can eat this." And I went, "Oh shit, okay, there's something wrong with this guy, right?" And then he looks at me and he says, "Hey, chink." And I went, this cannot be happening right now. I've just been living this moment for the last 2 years. I've been at rallies, I've been at demonstrations, I'm filming about this, and this guy looks at me and says that, and I knew the first thing to do is to de-escalate. I ignore him. And then he says it again, "Hey, chink," and this time followed by the F word, the derogatory word for gay men. And I went, oh man, I could feel this energy come through my body, taking over my brain, right? Because this guy, he checked all 3 boxes. He hates women, he's a racist, and he's anti-gay. Next thing you know, my mouth went on autopilot, and I was just hurling expletives at him. And then he stands up, and I went, okay, something's gonna happen here. I say out loud to the train, "I need some help here." Nobody moved. And then he starts coming towards me, and I said, "Come on, is anyone gonna back me up?" And then this guy walks up, says, "I got you, brother." I turn around, it was the only other Asian man on the train. Everyone is sitting there with their heads in their phones. So the train door opens, we're at 42nd Street, this spills out onto the platform, and I realized, you know what, I have to document this, right? I take out my phone, start to film him. I said, "What's your name?" He froze. So it works, right? You take out your phone, document the stuff, it can actually stop a crime. Next thing you know, cops are there, got between us, escorted him off. My Asian brother gave me a fist bump and said, "Stay safe." And I knew, as I saw the cops escorting him up the stairs, that I didn't do the right thing. I put myself in danger, I possibly put my Asian brother in danger, but you know what? As I saw him being escorted off, we may have saved someone else's lives. He could have gotten one of our elders, one of our grandmothers. So, I am an actor. Some of you may have seen me on Warrior. I was extremely lucky to be cast in this show written by Bruce Lee 50 years ago. Bruce Lee wanted to tell the story of the Chinese in America. So the show takes place in the 1850s, San Francisco. The minute we got off the boat, we saw political demagoguery. Immigrants pitted against one another. Minorities scapegoated, all in the name of capitalism. In season 1, episode 1, scene 1, the lead character, Assam, gets off a boat after a long trip from China. He looks out, and the first thing he sees is a group of angry white men chanting with signs, "Chinese, go home! Chinese, go home!" In real life, my great-great-grandfather was on that boat. And I always wondered what he must have felt at that time. What did he feel? What did he see when he got on that boat across the Pacific Ocean and landed here? And what were those boats like that came before him? The boats that came years before him in the Middle Passage that brought the slaves in the transatlantic slave trade. What were those boats like? The great black civil rights activist Angela Davis once said, "When you are an activist, you are an activist for life. Learn to enjoy it." So I wrote this song about my great-grandfather. And I imagined, had he kept a journal, it may have sounded like this. On the third day of the 10th month, I've been on this vessel now for 7 days. The journey west to the Gold Mountain may take as long as 30, if the winds are on our side. I can hardly move in here. It's difficult to breathe. On the fourth day of the 11th month, the winter storm allowed us a bath on deck tonight. The cold, cold rain did what it could to wash the vomit off our clothing. On our return, we found that swept the feces from where we are kept, in the bowels of the ship. On the 5th day of the 12th month, there's more room to move now as 2 more of my fellow countrymen have died. Their bodies tossed overboard. It's a better fate that the sharks should have them, for I too am becoming weak from the soup of rotten vegetables. On the 25th day of the 12th month, a light cuts through the hull like a jagged blade. The foreigner Guaylo says in his devil's tongue, "You are at the gate of the Gold Mountain, at the island called Angel. Angel Island. Angel Island." On the 3rd day of the 10th month, I've been on this rock now for 9 moons. And I can still hope that one day I could walk the Gold Mountain and pocket the gold I find. But day after day, the immigration interrogation officers are questioning me of my family, my history. You are a paper son, aren't you? You are trying to buy your way into America, aren't you? And what would you do if we allow you on the Gold Mountain? Would you take the job of an American? Some have been on this rock longer than I have. Others have managed to escape. Some have simply died on this rock called Angel. This rock called Jamestown. This rock not called Plymouth. Thank you very much.